$8 billion worth of liquidations are coming soon. We also have a big event happening within 7 days that's definitely going to affect Bitcoin's price, either to the upside or the downside. We'll talk more about that. And we also have something massive that hasn't happened yet for Bitcoin that will drive up the price dramatically. We also have a little bit of earnings news from Tesla. Did they sell their Bitcoin? Let's talk about that too. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. There's also going to be a link to Margex underneath the video in case you want to trade cryptocurrency using leverage. There's no KYC, which means you don't have to put in a bunch of your personal information. There's also a link down there to Blowfin as well. In case you want to trade cryptocurrency on leverage or spot, there's a link to Blowfin. There you can trade this meme coin also that I bought just a few days ago called Gummy. It's one of the only places you can buy it at this point. So definitely check that out underneath the video as well. Now let's take a look at the crypto market. So Bitcoin is sitting right around 66,600. Now let's see what altcoins are doing on the last 24 hours. Alts are up, such as Ethereum up 3%, Solana up 3%, BNB up the same as Bitcoin. You can see a pretty good day overall. Of course, there are some cryptos like Cardano that are still down. It's been a rough one for Cardano, that's for sure. Under 50 cents still. XRP also slightly down, just around 54 cents. There are some cryptos that obviously just have not moved. They have not moved from the last bull run. But yeah, Bitcoin's looking solid. When you think about how far some of these are still away from their all-time highs, it's kind of crazy. I mean, Bitcoin is 10% away from its all-time high and right about the previous peak's all-time high. But Cardano is still 85% away from the high. It's 1/6 the price, even less than 1/6 the price. Same thing with XRP. It's kind of crazy how far some cryptos, some of the top cryptos are still away. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to go back to all-time highs. There are going to be some cryptos that are just kind of relics of the past. I'm not saying that Cardano and XRP are those cryptos because they do have strong communities, but it is a little bit concerning when you're still 85% down from your all-time high when Bitcoin's at new all-time highs and everything else is only about 30 to maybe 40, 50% away from all-time highs. Now, just a little bit of news in case you didn't know. I am running a giveaway on my Twitter, $100 in crypto after we hit 7,000 followers. So if you want to follow me, you can go follow me, and I'll leave a link to this underneath the video. But trying to get a little bit bigger on Twitter because it's so small compared to my YouTube, and I want to give away some crypto as well. Now, historical buy signal flashing for Bitcoin, the full moon. You can see like the last 5 times we've gone a full moon, we've seen some pump action afterwards. You can see nice low pump there, nice low pump there, nice low pump there, big pump there, a little pump there, and then some consolidation. Do we see another full moon? It usually marks a local bottom. I don't know what it is. And at first, I never talked about this, but this happened even last bull market. Like typically we see moves right around the full moon. It's really odd. Who knows why that is? Maybe the person that's buying the most Bitcoin is really into the moon, into astronomy. I don't know, but it seems like it's pretty reliable, which is kind of interesting there, as dumb as it might sound. But something that I have covered that's definitely a signal in the market, not astronomy, is the funding rate. Covered this in a couple of videos recently, but it recently flipped negative. In yesterday's video, I talked about how it flipped negative around the same time that the put to call ratio went over 1, which shows that there's just massive negative sentiment in the market. And now we have $8 billion worth of shorts that will be liquidated if Bitcoin touches the previous all-time high of 74,000. Okay, maybe the shorts cover before they get liquidated, but that's a lot of liquidations, right? So as I've said in previous videos, when we see a lot of shorts at specific points or longs, typically they get wiped out. So be ready. Like, don't get caught on the wrong side of this trade with the halving being behind us, with less selling pressure, with some of the information we're going to show here in a second things that haven't happened yet, but are going to happen very soon, I would not bet against Bitcoin at this point. If we also hit this 74,000 and we start liquidating some of these $1 billion worth of shorts, that's going to send up the price very quickly. So be ready for that kind of move. Of course, there's going to be probably some resistance getting up there, but it does seem like Bitcoin's kind of a coiled spring at this point. I mean, as I said recently, we're 2 months into this trading sideways action. So get ready, because eventually we will break out or break down, but probably break out to the upside. Now, before we move on to some of the other Bitcoin information you need to know, we have to talk about Evercraft. Now, one small cryptocurrency I'm watching is Evercraft. So Evercraft is a really interesting one. They just launched on MEXC. They're quite small still, so keep that in mind. But they launched on MEXC on April 22nd, and their CFO and co-founder articulates the company's mission to harmonize the environmental preservation with technological advancement. So they said that their overreaching goal is to cleanse the world's oceans of debris, converting it into renewable energy to safeguard the planet for future generations. Obviously, a pretty good goal there. They plan to issue 900 million ECET tokens, offered not only financial rewards to investors, but also active engagement in platform development. This underscores the token's direct environmental impact and its role in fostering sustainability. Now, this runs on Polygon, and they started this ACA, Advanced Carbon Absorption, at the beginning of the year, this program. They're brand new as of just a few days ago. They went from 0.06 to 0.26 at the time of this recording, and they just made a pretty big partnership with Constellation DAG, which is a $120 million crypto. They explain it here. A leading provider of decarbonization technology, Evercraft has partnered with Constellation, a blockchain technology company, to tokenize their unique LTC and ACA technology on the Constellation blockchain. The partnership is expected to bring about significant synergies between the two companies, as well as provide a more secure and efficient way to store and manage CO2 data. So you can follow them underneath the video. They are a partner of the channel, so you can go pay attention to them on CoinGecko, add them to your portfolio tracker. Also, go follow them on Twitter. So we have a big event happening within 7 days, and we have some inflow data for Bitcoin. We have some things that haven't happened yet for Bitcoin that are coming, and then we have some information about Tesla and whether they sold some Bitcoin. You can see here, though, it was a lighter day in terms of volume for the Bitcoin ETFs. You can see IBIT with 661 million. For a while there, it was trading about $1.5 to $2 billion a day. FBTC with a small day of 233, and GBTC with 224 million. So it could have been a negative day, but it wasn't. GBTC had $67 million worth of outflows, so now they're only at 302,650 Bitcoin remaining. IBIT with a decently strong $38 million day. Today's $38 million inflow continues IBIT streak to 71 days of net positive inflows, net inflows. EasyBC with 2 million, BITB with 23 million, big day. ARCB with a big day, 33 million. And you can see that's over 100%, or right around 100% of today's new Bitcoin supply. HODL was unable to HODL with a negative $2 million outflow. I'll just continue down. So FBTC had a small day, but overall, $32 million worth of inflows. This is more than the amount of Bitcoin that's bought, or that is mined by miners every day. So these ETFs just swallowed up all the new Bitcoin in the day. Of course, there are a lot of other players as well, but that's pretty good. That is pretty good for the ETFs to just swallow that all up. And this is kind of a quiet time for the ETFs. Like, we saw obviously a lot more accumulation before. And I think the FOMO will continue once we start to move up on Bitcoin. And keep in mind, within 7 days, Hong Kong is going to launch Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. A lot of people are saying that this isn't going to be as big as the US ETFs, and that some of the demand was overstated at first. But keep in mind, a lot of people didn't think that the US ETFs would be this bullish. They didn't think that they would buy as much as they did this quickly. So it's really hard to know how much is going to be bought up We also have the likes of Morgan Stanley going to, that's trying to approve Bitcoin ETF buying as well. And keep in mind, the largest or one of the largest drivers of the ETFs hasn't even started yet. Something like target date funds or retirement accounts, they have not started to add Bitcoin. So let's say you're someone that wants to retire in 40 years. They would say you should go 54% into domestic equities, 36% into international equities, 10% into bonds, and then 0% into short-term funds. So 0% cash, 10% bonds, and then 90% stocks. I think this is going to change. I think this is going to change where eventually, pretty soon, they're going to say like 1% Bitcoin, 2% Bitcoin, and they're going to put that in some of their funds. That's going to give people access to Bitcoin. Most people won't even know that they own Bitcoin, but that will give them access to Bitcoin that will continue to compound over time. They're going to continue to dollar cost average over time. And think about the power of having Bitcoin in a portfolio for the next 40 years. Think about how well it's performed. Ooh, sorry. Time to wake up. Think about how well Bitcoin's performed over the last 5 or 10 years. Imagine if you had it in a target date retirement fund 10 years ago and you'd just been dollar cost averaging into it without even noticing it. I think you'd be quite happy right now. What was Bitcoin's price 10 years ago? A couple $100, right? So imagine you had just been quietly stacking without knowing, putting in $1,000 a month. For a lot of people, that's a significant amount of money. For some people, that's nothing. They invest much more than that. But imagine putting $1,000 a month, maybe $10 of that going into Bitcoin, or $50 of that going into Bitcoin at a few $100s. So every single month, you're buying a tenth of a Bitcoin, a fifth of a Bitcoin without even knowing. That is crazy to think about how powerful that would be. And that could be the case going forward, right? If you're someone that wants to retire in 40 years, it would probably be good to stack some of the hardest asset, one of the most scarce assets, one of the most finite assets for the long term. And without the volatility, you probably wouldn't screw up like a lot of crypto newbies do, which is you sell at the bottom, you buy at the top. No, you would just be dollar cost averaging forever, essentially. I think this is coming. Also, we know pensions will be continuously buying too, and a bunch of other entities that just haven't gotten approved. So it is interesting to think about what is going to happen moving forward and how much buying pressure could come in. And it really does change the game when you're talking about retirement funds because they do not time the market. Maybe slightly, but they really don't. It's just continuous buying pressure. This is what happened in the stock market. Once people started to buy more index funds instead of moving from one stock to another, there's continuous buying and buying pressure, and it makes it much easier for the market to continue up, maybe even irrationally sometimes. Now, Tesla announced earnings last night. They did not sell any of their Bitcoin, and right now in the pre-market, Bitcoin's up. Well, not Bitcoin. Tesla's up about 12%. I won't cover this too much, but they produced over 1,000 Cybertrucks in a single week in April. They also had a $1 billion investment into AI, which is a huge investment, obviously. And they did say that they were going to accelerate some of the lower cost vehicles as well, some of the ramping for those. So great earnings from Tesla. I bought Tesla yesterday. I said it in the Patreon that I was dollar cost averaging into Tesla because I think it's unfairly beaten down. And of course, the market could have disliked these earnings. They could have been worse than expected, but they weren't. And honestly, at this point, I'd still think Tesla up 11% or so is still a pretty good buy if you're looking long term. But of course, you are buying a high tech company, one that can move around a lot in terms of price volatility, and also one that is highly dependent right now on the economy and the Fed. So it is higher risk than a lot of other stocks. Let me know your thoughts though underneath the video. And if you want to know what I'm buying and selling, you can check out the link to the Patreon underneath the video. I also give daily updates when the market's open on the market, the stock market that is, so during the week. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. There are links underneath the video to Margex in case you want to trade cryptocurrency, and a below fin in case you want to trade cryptocurrency on leverage or spot. There are deposit bonuses as well when you use those links. And there is that link to Evercraft as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.